Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it's my great pleasure to have you tonight all to make this occasion to stay in your memories for years. This particular occasion, ladies and gentlemen, is only done by you. If you were not present, this spectacle couldn't have gone as well as should, and it is going on. Tonight, it's for the first time you'll be able to hear something new in this new country, our country, Australia. This is for the first time you're going to hear publicly, ladies and gentlemen, a new composed songs and dances from Macedonian Australians. This program, ladies and gentlemen, was helped by few people, few companies. The major prize for the best new composed song was donated $500 worth of furniture by Treska Furniture. Also, the first prize for the Macedonian traditional folk song was donated a savings bank passbook by Stopanska banka. And also the first prize for the best played Makedonsko oro, Macedonian oro, was the worth of $100 by Tom Slim Real Estate and Prespa Travel. Ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating tonight this, and we would like to continue these awards for always to be amongst us. And I hope next year we will have more candidates and they will think seriously. Please, for this occasion, some of the groups, they only started playing a couple of months before when I start this occasion, these memories in here going to happen. We have some people tonight in here in our presence, such as got the president of the Macedonian Church Sveti Nikola, Mr. Pande Trajkovski. Also, we got the Mr. Vis Goce Delchev from Stopanska Banka, who is our guest tonight, and his wife. I have the social worker Jelica Čaplić. Also in here amongst us we have the, I can say, the youngest alderman in Rockdale municipality, Mr. Bill Sarafinovski. And I cannot forget the people from the members and from Ilinden soccer group, led by Mr. John Karamfilov. Now, who is left? I don't know, but I think you should know somebody who is left behind, which made most of this night to be such a pleasant. I think that is the entire committee of Radio Eastern Sydney. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to, for you to see the fellow worker on the committee, the chairperson, Mrs. Nancy Hillier. Can she come and say a couple of words for you? Can I have Mrs. Nancy Hillier, please? She can come quicker so we can get the other job. There she is. Nancy Hillier, ladies and gentlemen, the chairperson of Radio Eastern Sydney.
Why do they do this to me? I'm a behind-the-scenes person, not the front-up person. But I want you to know and to understand that we know what a warm person Nick Ristevski is. He is a born community leader if I have ever seen one. Nick, I believe, has in his heart what is in mine, the need for all of us people to grow together. And if we can follow Nick's example in our station, I'm sure Australia is going to be a better place if we all draw together as we have done. Nick is a director of Radio Eastern Sydney, and we asked him to nominate for that position because we are proud of him and because of the loyalty he has shown to Radio Eastern Sydney. It's lovely for me to see all you people, to know that our listeners are here, that we do have listeners. Sometimes I wonder if we have listeners. But what I would ask you to do, so as we can keep our station going, to listen often to Radio Eastern Sydney. We need to build up our radio audience. We need to build up our finance. We need programs and we need volunteers to work in our station. Now, if there are any of you out there, please come and see us. And thank you from my heart for asking us to be here and celebrate with you tonight. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nancy. One more person which I'd like you to meet is the station manager of 2 areas who's got all the problems in the world, but I think he achieved so much. That means my program was never off air, so thanks to Edward Knowles. Can I have Edward here, please?
It's a wonderful pleasure to be here tonight and to see everyone turn up and enjoy themselves. I've had a thrilling afternoon, being here since around about 4:30, and we've got a great act representing the station tonight. That's John Haggart and Gary Tall. I'm sure you'll appreciate their music, and I've seen them at rehearsals, and they do a very, very good job. Also tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're selling raffle tickets to raise money for Radio Eastern Sydney. So when we come around and ask you to buy a raffle ticket, please dig deep and maybe buy 1 or 2. They're very cheap. And I believe, Nick, the first prize is a beauty. And also we've got Radio Eastern Sydney t-shirts here tonight as well. So do dig deep and try to give as much as you can. It keeps Nick Ristevski on air, yeah, and it helps us to keep our doors open. So thank you very much, and good luck, Nick. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, Edward Knowles. Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you to stand up for the Australian and Macedonian anthems, please. Thank you. You can sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have little attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? All my work is based on the facts of life. And this, tonight, what you're going to see, it is the fact of life. That a work that I appreciate, that I do from my heart. Now, I'd like to say something. I was thrilled about 4 months ago when I visited one Australian institution. That was the office of the Mayor of Rockdale Council. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw Mr. Rathburn for some problem that I had. And when I went into his room, into his chambers, on the left-hand side on the wall, I've seen something that I never have expected in my life. It was a work of art in his chambers from Macedonia. And on the basis of that, ladies and gentlemen, I do like my guest of honor and a patron for tonight is Mr. Radbourne, Mayor from Rockdale. And I would like Mr. Radbourne to come and officially open the Macedonian Song and Music Awards.
Mr. Ristevski, my colleague distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. You know, there's one thing we never do in local government when you're the mayor of a municipality, and that's open something in somebody else's municipality. It's just not done. But on Thursday night, I happened to be at a function with Alderman Barry Jones, the mayor of Marrickville, and I said to him that I was attending this function tonight, and that I hope he didn't mind that I was intruding into his part of the world. He said not only did he not mind, but to extend to you people his very sincere greetings on the occasion of this very important function. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I've come along tonight is because I realise that a very large number of the people in the audience are Rockdale residents. And we in Rockdale are particularly proud of our Macedonian community, because no group of people of the 27 different ethnic groups who've settled in Rockdale since the end of the Second World War have tried harder to be good citizens and have tried harder to be good Australians than our Macedonian community. And we're very proud of that, and we're prepared to acknowledge that at every opportunity. But more important than that is the fact that you people have tried to keep your cultural background alive. And whilst we are proud of the fact that you want to be good Australians, we're also conscious of the fact that by keeping your culture alive, you're making a very great contribution to the enrichment of this country that we all hold so dear. Now, this tonight is one of those functions that does that sort of thing, and that's why I'm particularly happy to be with you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're anxious to get on with this show. I will declare it officially open and say how very happy and proud I am to be with you.
Thank you, Mr. Radbourne. That was very good. Well said. Well, in 1 second, when the musicians, I'd like to invite all the musicians. We're going to start with one beautiful Macedonian oro played by all the musicians. I hope they know where they are. кои беа моментите кога нашите родители, нашите татковци, стриковци и дедовци ги проведија во времето на Втората светска војна. И вакви беа моментите кога пукна првата пушка во Прилеп и Куманово. За оваа цел, драги посетители, Велко Трпевски по повод 11 октомври сака да каже некои зборови. Велко Трпевски.
Човекот се бори за слобода, слободниот за совршенство. Благодарност на сите вас кои вечерва дојдовте да присуствувате, учествувате или помогнете на ова македонска од голема значајност вечер, организирана по повод 11 октомври 1941 година. Погинатиот борец за ова чест пред време, заблагодарувајќи ни, рече: напразно не сум загинал, да ме секој заборави, ниту сум паднал издајник, да ме секој истуга, туку сум мајко загинал за тие златни слободи, за тие свети правдини. До денес нема народ кој повеќе е страдал и пател од робство како македонскиот. И нема кренато друг народ повеќе слободо ослободителни движање и восстание од македонскиот. Но како светла круна на сите претходни е 11 октомври 1941 година против најцрниот заканувач на човечанството против фашизмот. Претходното поробување од поделената Македонија од монархо-буржоазистичките држави Србија, Грција и Бугарија, новиот фашистички окупатор ја преподели и ја завија целата наша земја во најтешкото и најцрно робство. Но македончето не спиеше и бојот започна. Уште во раното утро пред 45 години на 11 октомври се огласија првите истрели на храбрите партизани од Прилеп и Куманово. Акциите на овие истрели на храбрите партизани од партизански одреди има големо значење за понатамошниот тек на борбата. Од ден на ден бојот на борците и партизански одреди растеше, а со тоа и восстанието растеше и се прошируваше низ Македонија. Во почетокот на март 1943 година во Тетово е формиран Централниот комитет на Комунистичката партија на Македонија. Продолжувајќи тешката и крвава борба, одредите растеа во батальоните во бригади, дивизии, така да во завршетните борби македонските единици нарасна на 7 дивизии и други воени единици формирани во 3 корпуси со околу 66.000 борци, при што главниот штаб го издаде следниот манифест. За прв пат на нашата славна историја имаме денеска своја млада народна војска која ждие победи. Ние одиме кон нови големи борби, се работи за ослободување на нашата земја. Ве молиме вас, синови и ќерки на македонскиот народ, ве викаме и вас, стари и винтенски борци, те викаме и тебе, јуначка младино на Македонија, што даде толку жртви во борбата за слободата на својот народ. Деновите што идеа ќе решат твојата судбина. Ние треба без друго да ги истераме крвавите фашистички и сите монархо-буржоаски окупатори од нашата територија. Драги присутни, од овие тешки и макотрпни борби, плод е нашата република, која зазема 1/3 од територијата на Македонија, а за ова поетот борец ни порачува и вели: да зошто 9 лета со крв ја поевне ние нашата земја света. i bezbroj nejni čeda, bez grob i dragi majko, ovdje je mrtvo utro, omrtvite oči gledati. Pod parolата Македонија на македонците, да му посакаме што поскоро национално и територијално ослободување на нашите, кои моментално се под грчко, бугарско и албанско угнетување. Да живее македонското име.
Благодарам, Велко Трпевски. Драги гости, како што вие знаете дека македонските ора изразуваат дел од нашиот живот, дел од војна, како што е комикското оро, дел од седенки. Имам една моја композиција, моја хореографија, која ќе изведи Јерка Церович. Македонска жетварка, исполнува Јерка Церович. Драги гости, доаѓа критичниот момент, кога вие сега е најтешка вашата работа да изберете најубаво оро. На вашите столови, на вашите маси се наоѓаат ливчина, кои се мали четвртасти ливчиња, 3 или 4 на нив. Првото е за добродење и второто е пише на него оро. Ispod toga oro piše točno ime i prezime, ime na orkestaru. Ti što si zedao pokasno karti, što ne zedao na vreme što trebaše da barame tuka masi, kako što se tuka na levo to krilo, ke izvinat. V godina da si zimat na vreme karti i na njimite masi ke imam. Dragi gosti, ve molam, štom ke počnat, prvo ima pravo za na jugovo makedonsko ispolneto oro. Za nego nema kriterijum, na primjer, da je narodno ili novokompanovano, nego slobodno makedonsko oro. Kakvo što sakat orkestru. Večerva imame 3 orkestri. Prvi od orkestar je lična Skopjanka i vtori od orkestar je Vis Makedonija Jaguna i treti od orkestar je Pespa, orkestar Pespa. Na vas, na site, vi poželujem prijedno i ulovo slušenje i se nadam дека ќе бидете realni prema ovие деца, pošto sakame da izbereme ono što je najubavo. I have to say something in English. On your tickets, on your table, there is square tickets, and there is one which is with oro, O-R-O, and there is one which sounds Narodna pesna, and there is one which is novokomponovana Narodna pesna. I think it's very hard to remember, but keep studying them. And the first one is for the musicians to play, and you have to either place the number or the name of the musicians. I believe you got programs and you got pens on your table, so one pen is sufficient. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce the first contestant for tonight, and that is the Karaormansko Oro, and is interpreted by the vocal instrumental group Lična Skopjanka. Give them a great welcome. Thank you, lično Skopjanka. Dragi gosti, сега вечерва сакам да ви кажам нешто. Кога реков дека ќе бидат овие награди во западниот дел на Сиднеј, се собраа млади момчиња и решија да работат тешко. Тоа е вокално-инструменталниот состав Македонија Јагуна. И тие, пошто се многу млади и младинци, измислија оро кој се вика младинско оро. И сега да го слушнеме Vis Goce со младинско оро. I'd like to say a couple of words. The next contestant is the vocal instrumental group Vis Macedonia from Jaguna. These young lads, they have started about 2-3 months to go as a group. And after the hard work, I think you deserve to hear what they will present to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Vis Jaguna and the young dance, Mladinsko Oro. Well, I think they did deserve your hands. I'm sure you warmed your hands up for those young lads. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Vis Jaguna. Dragi gosti, Jonče Ristevski reče vaka: aj zasvirete mi čalgi, една песна убава, една песна мераклиска, да се сетам на младоста. Во идниот, во средната точка, драги гости, вокално-инструменталниот оркестар преспа. Тоа е дуетот браќа Зидовски, кои едниот е 9 години другиот е 12 години, со пратња на неколку од нашите тука, ќе го исполнат битолско свадбарско оро. И со тоа сум убеден дека прв пат ќе имате прилика да слушнете мелос од чалгија со модерни инструменти, се разбира. Ladies and gentlemen, the next contestants, that's the brothers Zizovski, they will play one oro, which is played usually on tambourines, and it's very ancient, from the region of Bitola. And the brothers Zizovski, they'll play you Bitolsko Svadbarsko oro, which you give them a great welcome. Thank you. ladies and gentlemen, you take in consideration our technical fault for the young lads. So please, our sound system was not very adequate for these young lads, but I'm sure they did what they meant to do. Well, you have in here a lot of people from Radio East in Sydney, and there is raffle tickets to be sold. Well, the first prize is from Treska Furniture, a lounge chair, which costs $200. And because I am from Prespa region, we are known very well for fruit, and the Illingdon Fruit Market in Newtown, they have donated a basket which, can you put a spot please over there? Right, a basket and the fruit from Illingdon Fruit Market. So the tickets are going very cheap, and please dig deep and make sure you buy. That will